Alright guys, welcome to Hollywood Mechanic. Today we're going to be breaking down what's involved in buying a 10-year-old German car. Should you do it? What's the cost? And yeah, we have a trick for you at the end that will help you save thousands of dollars. Alright, so this is a call I get all the time. One of my least favorite calls. Hey bro, I see this like 10-year-old BMW 7 Series or this S-Class or worst case, the Range Rover. It's got, less than 100,000 miles and it's going for 10 grand. Should I buy it? The question that follows that usually is, hey, can I drive it for a year or two before things start breaking? People are dead set on this car. No matter what I say, they fight me on it. And then they think that I'm gonna help them with the repair bills. And I would go out of business if I tried to help everyone like that. You're making a decision that has repercussions, so that's on you. So what's the deal? What about these cars? Is it worth buying? Well, something you should know right off the bat is the dealer says the car's life is about 6 to 8 years. And to prove this, BMW, for instance, they say that the transmission is got a lifetime feel, that you should never change the fluid unless you have to make a repair. But ZF makes the transmissions, the 8 HP, that is in almost every BMW. And they say that the transmission has to be serviced every 8 years. And that's at a minimum. If you're driving it under sport or extreme conditions, you need to change it more often than that. So BMW obviously thinks their car is an 8-year-old product. That's end of life. And if you buy it at that point, then you are buying basically a shell of that original car. The original car was $70,000, $80,000. And you're buying it for $10,000 because it's been spent. I made this choice and I bought a 11-year-old BMW X5 and it had the M Sport package, the V8 hydraulic sway bar system that the Rolls-Royce Ghost had the same years. It has the same turbochargers, it has the same shocks, the variable valving shocks, it has a rear air ride suspension. Now why would I do that? Would I do that, because I can do free labor? It still costs me something. Every hour I spend working on my own car, I'm not charging someone labor. So it's not free labor, it's still a cost. But the reason that I did that is I wanted all the benefits of this car's $70,000 original price X5 for $14,000 because I can't afford to buy a $70,000 car, but I can afford to slowly fix things as they fail, and I still have a very great car that ends up costing me $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in the end, just depending on how things fail. How do you do it? What you've got to do is you've got to look for the 3 big things everyone looks for buying a used car: single owner, no accidents, dealer repaired. We've made another video about that you should check out. You should also get a pre-purchase inspection, especially with oil analysis. This will tell you if there's something catastrophic hiding in the engine and transmission that you're about to have to deal with. We made another video about oil analysis. If you've done all those things, which is what I did with my X5, what could happen? I'll tell you what my experience has been in the first year. So a month into it, I started getting codes for a cooling system. It wasn't a cooling system fault, it was the alternator. It was about $450 plus a belt and tensioner was another $150, so we're looking at $600 right off the bat. Then I started noticing the coolant level was dropping. It turned out to be the coolant reservoir, $150 plus some coolant. The rear air suspension failed and that cost me $550. And just remember, all these numbers I'm giving you are just the parts costs. I did the labor myself, so you're gonna have to pay a BMW Confident shop a pretty high labor rate to fix these things. Right after that, it's been about 8 months into it, I started noticing the oil level was dropping and it was the rear main seal, so the transmission had to be removed. I went ahead and resealed all the transfer case, transmission, and differentials due to them having to have access to them to replace this rear main seal, which is the way that you should do this. Every time you go into the engine to repair something, look at everything that you're gonna touch on the way there, and any seals or gaskets should definitely be replaced. Rubber just can't last that long. The next thing to go out on the car was front control arm bushings. If you ignore front control arm bushings, just like most problems, if you ignore them, and because you can still drive with them, it developed into awkward tire wear patterns, and tires are extremely expensive, so I started burning through tires. I had to fix that and get in alignment. You can't really ignore these problems. You really need to get into them, especially fluid leaks. Fluid leaking will cause hot spots on components that will fry electrical components, sensors, and cause uneven heating and cooling across metal components, which means more gaskets will fail. And believe me, these engines are extremely complex. You can see here, wiring harnesses have to be removed, I think there was like 20 hoses that I had to remove. All those hoses have little O-rings and seals, so it can get very, very expensive. If you think you're gonna buy a car and then drive it for a year and not have to pay for major component repair, honestly, probably wrong. You could get put into a bad position. All right, so Micah, you said that there's a trick to this. How can I save thousands of dollars? If you buy your car from a dealer, they oftentimes will offer you an aftermarket warranty, something like AmeriGuard or Alliance. These warranties cost between $1,500 to $4,500. They are so worth it. If you have a major component failure, it will cover it, or it will at least cover a lot of it. But the only catch to that is you have to read the fine print. A lot of them only cover an actual major component failure. They don't cover alternators, maintenance items, and a lot of them don't cover seals and gaskets. Somehow I was able to get a seals and gasket coverage on mine, which is extremely rare, but if you can get a warranty that covers seals and gaskets, get it. They paid me $3,000 to change the rear main seal, and I did it myself. I used that money to buy all the other seals for the transmission and transfer case. So make sure if you can do that, that is the key. You can get a hack in there. And then also when you're buying a 10-year-old car, you have the benefit of having 10 years use of road use and other users. So if there are flaws, that will be readily available online. So make sure you do your research. See, like this car has a valve stem seal flaw. It's known, it's extremely expensive to repair. So do your research. See if you can find on the Carfax that it's already been done. And then, yeah, if you've done that and you've got that warranty, you're pretty safe.